What up? It's your boy, Nick Incredible Man, and yes, I am back at it again. And this is New Amsterdam Season 2, Episode 16. And this episode was absolutely wonderful. I loved it. Okay, before I even start talking about this episode, I'm going to be 100% and straight up with you guys. Everything else is second fiddle compared to the whole Sharp and Max's final moment in this episode, and then the whole Castro situation. Everything else is second fiddle. Don't get me wrong, it was nice and it was cool and it was fine, but it's second fiddle compared to those two situations. And oh my gosh. Okay, man. So we start with this episode and it opens up and we're seeing I want to say her name is Alice, I think. That's how little I care about her. I didn't even bother to learn her name. But her and Max, it opens up this episode opens up with her and Max, banging one out. So they got a little intimate with each other, and they were both still kind of having doubts and second thoughts about everything. But ultimately, they got together, and I was so against it at first, but I'm okay if being with her allows Max to realize that he has feelings for Sharp. And that's exactly what happened at the end of this episode, and I cannot be more happy. Look at my face. I'm so okay. So oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We see Max appearing at the hospital. We have a whole bunch of other stuff going on at the hospital as well. But Max pops up at the hospital, and his assistant, I can't remember her name either. I gotta learn her name because she's such a cool little old lady with her little scooter. She's talking to Max and telling him he has a whole bunch of meetings and stuff going on, and we all know how Max feels about meetings. But he's so giddy, he's on top of the world because Max had fun with Alice last night. Well, this morning. So he's on top of the world, and he's like, nothing can ruin this. And also at that same time, Bloom was served, Dr. Reynolds was served, and then all of a sudden Max is served. The hospital is being sued. Now, with the whole case of the hospital being sued, we find out that a whole bunch of people were gassed at a festival, and the guy's family that died in that event is suing the hospital. And throughout the episode, it progresses on. We see Reynolds' fiance. I know her name too. I can't think of it right now because my mind is flooded with Max and Sharp stuff. We see her. She's having a deposition going over with Max, Reynolds, and Bloom, trying to get them prepared in case they decide to go to trial. And as the episode goes on, they're having their deposition with Dr. Calico as well. She's going over trying to find out what actually happened to this patient. And as the story goes on, we learned that the guy actually dosed himself because he knew he was going to be dosing other people in case he got a dose of the toxins. And he was the one that actually set it off. And for some reason, his family is trying to blame the hospital for his death. It was his own fault. But because of, we found out he was a white supremacist as well. And because of everything and everybody's explanation that they gave in the deposition, it was pretty much settled that we can't go to trial because the defense will tear Max, Bloom, and Reynolds apart, and probably Calico as well. It'll just tear them all to shreds, and they won't have a ground to stand on. So Reynolds' fiance, I know her name, I can't think of her name. She decided to tell the board lady, I know her name too, but I can't think. My mind is so wrapped up around Sharp and Max right now. That it's best that we settle out of court. And I think that is so unfair because, losing a family member at a hospital is very sad. And Reynolds was going through some emotions because he was like, well, he never wanted to be that doctor to judge someone on their lifestyle or whatever. Or, even if he is a racist, but he's a doctor, so he has to help people. But, and, for a split moment, it hurt. You could tell that, like, it was real for him in that moment, well, I am a doctor, but still I'm a black doctor. And this man gassed and almost killed all these other people because he hated these people, and he ended up killing himself. But the family sued the hospital, and it's so unfair and wrong, and stuff happens like this in everyday life, but it's just so wrong because now the hospital has to pay the family all because he dosed himself. Let's be real, that's what actually killed him. Granted, he died on the operating table because they were trying to save him, but they didn't know that he had a double dose of the chemical that was dosed at the fair. It was his fault that he died. But that's a whole nother. You could do a whole video about that whole situation. But long story short, they have to pay his family because he killed himself basically, but he just happened to die on the operating table, which is totally unfair. Then we get into another part that I found very interesting, but like I said, everything was second fiddle to Sharp and Max and Sharp and Castro. Iggy has a patient. She's acting very, very strange. She doesn't want to sit down. She keeps looking at the door. She has PTSD basically, and we learn the reason she has PTSD is because her school done an unannounced active shooter drill, and they had kids partake in the actual drill. And this man came in shooting blanks, and some of the students died with real blood packs, I'm assuming, and everything. And it traumatized this girl. And she's suffering from PTSD. She's not the only one. Iggy ended up going to the school and talking to the other kids, and some of them are terrified and haunted as well. And now the only thing I'm saying about it is, yes, active shooter drills are definitely, you wouldn't have had to do this so many years ago. Man, even when I was in middle school, you wouldn't have had to do this, but you have to now to prepare these kids in case something like that happens. But I felt like them not telling the parents and having this dude come in with real bullets, with blanks, and having the kids participate and actually act like they got killed and stuff was horrendous. You don't go about it that way. You can do this in a reasonable, responsible way. Maybe like have a safe space, or have all of the rooms have like a bolted lock or something, like so people can't get in, or have an escape plan when something like this happens. And they could have even done it with the blanks, but for them to actually come and put it out to have one of the kids actually act like she got killed, and the dude come in shooting blanks was horrendous, and it was so horrible. There's reason why this girl has PTSD, man. And I can't believe that they were allowed to do that and not at least inform the parents. But it ended and resolved nicely because Iggy helped her talk through her problems, and she has a little talk therapy going on with Iggy at the end of the episode, and you can see that she's kind of relieved a little bit. Then we have the whole Bloom segment again with her mom. I'm a little invested because we've heard Bloom talk about her mother so much, and only to find out now that her mom comes to try to apologize, and well, not so much apologize, but kind of reconnect with Bloom. And Bloom wants her to apologize, but she doesn't remember having the alcoholism problem or drinking that much and being blackout drunk. She doesn't remember any of that. And Bloom doesn't want it that way. She ended up talking to VJ, and VJ told her that, it's a serious thing, but she drunk so much probably, and maybe like a medical problem. She can't remember, and she may never remember. And VJ and Casey kind of helped Bloom get to the point to where, you shouldn't really focus on the past so much, Bloom. You're at this point now to where your mom's trying to have a reconnection with you, and she's not bringing up anything of the past. She's not even drinking anymore. She's sober. So start over. And at the end of the episode, we see Bloom at like an ice rink, well, maybe like a pond or whatever, and they're skating. Well, there's people skating, and she's trying to start some new memories with her mom. And I feel like that's a good step in the right direction for Bloom, because this episode kind of brought back some stuff with her abusing the Adderall with the patient. She couldn't remember things clearly. She was going through some stuff thinking about her mom, and maybe could she have the same side effects with her mom and everything. So it was a lot going on with Bloom, but at the end of the episode, it was kind of resolved thanks to VJ and Casey, and we can see her kind of have a connection with her mom at the end, and that was pretty good for Bloom, because we know she's very, very, she's very opinionated about her mom, because, she had to take care of her. She had to give her the drinks and everything. So there's a lot going on in that storyline. And that's why I'm very super intrigued about it, and to see how they kind of incorporate it with the rest of the season. Then we have VJ. we find out this episode that VJ's a little superstitious, because Ella has a black cat that helps her calm down and keep her composure with her OCD and kind of keep it in check a little bit. But VJ is very superstitious, and the black cat got to VJ this episode, and he was fumbling and bumbling all over the episode, and he even tried to do like a simple procedure with one of his patients, and he broke the needle off in the guy. A lot of stuff was going on with VJ, but he also came to an understanding with Ella that it helps her with her OCD and helps keep her in check, and he was willing to sacrifice his superstitions to help and keep Ella sane and calm with her OCD, especially with the pregnancy. So, everybody had a little input in this episode, and they all had their own very different stories going on this episode. And then we dive right back into Max along with the Castro and Sharp incident. Max dealing with the deposition, we kind of see that Max is kind of feels like everybody, well, not everybody, but Reynolds' fiance was kind of weighing in that, you wear different hats throughout the day as a medical director, and with this man dying, Max almost kind of felt like it was his fault a little bit. Well, he didn't think that, but maybe talking with Reynolds' fiance kind of made him realize that, maybe I shouldn't be this kind of medical director. Maybe I should just stay behind the scenes and stay in my office. And no, it was Sharp that talked him out of that and was like, no, Max, we need you to be the Max that wears multiple hats. And it was such a wonderful thing for Max to realize that. Now, Sharp and Castro. Now, from the promo from maybe like a week ago, we saw that Sharp was going to confront Castro. And confront her, she did. She changed the medication and everything, and it completely ruined her study. But it was a good thing because Castro was lying, but at the same time, we had to think about it from Sharp's standpoint. If she went and told Max, which I wanted her to do from the beginning, but if she went and told Max, Max would have had to shut everything down, and then Max is very, very big on these doctors owning their mistakes, and then that would have been another PR issue for the hospital, and that the hospital really doesn't need that right now. So she decided to handle everything herself and kind of cover it up to save face for the hospital and for Castro, even though Castro threw her under the bus multiple times. But the fun thing about it was she came to a conclusion and she made Castro quit. Castro no longer works at New Amsterdam. She is gone. She is out the door. And yes, glory is restored because Sharp has to take back over the oncology department, and we're all happy for it because she's a real good doctor. Castro's a good doctor as well, but she doesn't really... She's only focused on the big picture. She doesn't see all the minor stuff that's going on in between. She's only focused on the big picture. And I love the fact that Sharp called her out on it and laid everything bare and told her, you need to tender your resignation. And she done that to Max. And then it was just laid out bare and Castro's gone. Then we get to the heart and everything that I loved about this episode because it was beautiful. Like I said, remember at the very beginning, we see Max with Alice and they're having their moment. Then we come back and Max comes back to Sharp and tells her, I know that was all set up and very theatrical with you and Castro. So what's really going on? And she was like, well, Castro doesn't really care about the patient. She only cares about the trial. She's a great doctor and she saved you. So we have to kind of look at it a different picture. But Max asked Sharp, why did you help her save face if something major was going on? He didn't really go into detail like that, but now I'm just speculating. But that was his whole question, what he was asking. And the funny thing was, she was like, you know why I did it. He was like, I want to hear you say it. And in that moment, when it was happening, we see Max fumbling with his ring. Now, remember, when he was with Alice, he didn't want to take his ring off. He said he didn't think he could do it. But talking to Sharp, looking into each other's eyes, and they were like this. And I wanted them to kiss so bad. I wanted them to kiss so bad. But they did. Oh, but boy, I feel like it's there that we're like right there on the precipice. And I feel like maybe towards the end of this season, we're getting a kiss from Max and Sharp. I don't care what anybody says because I feel like it's right there, man. But she says, you know why I did it. He said, I want to hear you say it. And she said, I did it for you, Max. So he stands up closer. He starts fiddling with his ring. And then she leaves. No. And then he goes to Alice. Alice. Now, then all they're doing is sitting on the stoop, and I'm hoping he doesn't take his ring off for Alice, but for Sharp. I really hope he do, man. Oh boy, I know this one is way long because there was a lot of stuff going on, and I kind of want to explain everything to you guys and give you my thoughts about it. But that is the highlight of this episode for me, man. Look at this, 15 minutes. I apologize. But that's everything, man. This is your boy, Dick Incredible. Don't forget to smash the like button until you can't smash it anymore. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them. And subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. Peace out.